For step 3 of our red rosebud demonstration, I need to put in some background so you can see the shape of the rose. I'm just wetting the paper, and I've switched to a larger brush because I want the paint to bleed out into the background. I want the background to be less in focus than the rosebud. So I think I'm going to use a mixture of ultramarine blue and Naples yellow. It'll give me a kind of green, which is a cooler color against the warm red. And hopefully it'll work here. I'm picking up a fairly wet ultramarine blue, and I'm just going to touch next to the rose petals. And let it bleed. Then I'm going to come back in while that's still wet with my Naples yellow. And hopefully, if this works the way I think it will, we'll get a soft, neutral green. You can see already, I hope, how that brings out the shape of the rose. Now, while that dries, I'm going to come in with the carmine, which is a little bit to the blue side. And I'm going to intensify the dark areas. See, I'm softening this one back because I don't want the whole thing to be the same value. I'm picking the dark areas where I want to show where it's really turned away from the light. minimal softening, hopefully. I say hopefully because I never know exactly what I'm going to get. If you're familiar with watercolor, you know what I'm talking about. There always seems to be those little occasions when you think, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But that's part of the joy of the medium, too, I think. It's taking a chance. Now I think we need to do a little bit on the leaves and the stem. And I think what I'm going to do there is the same mixture that I used for the background. Just a little ultramarine blue and more intense than the background. And a little bit of the Naples yellow where the light might strike just a little. You can see here I'm using quite intense paint because I don't want to spend a lot of time with the leaves. They're important, but not as important as the rose itself in this particular demonstration. I don't necessarily always do things the same way, just whatever feels right at the moment. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's always a challenge. It's a little bit too wet, so I'm just picking some of the water back up. Now on this leaf here, I feel like I need a little bit more blue. So I'm going to come back in and add it while it's still wet. Because I need that separation between the leaf and the background. Okay, now I have to wait before I can put in the final darts on the rose. So we'll let this dry and then we'll finish it up.